I'm just gonna boot you on out of here. Well, hello my lovers, my lovely children. I'm gonna show you my variegated things. We're gonna talk about some cat stuff. First things first, I think we'll start off with my variegated bro Marks. And my god, he is a monster. Oh my lord. I don't have many words, to be honest, with this guy. He's got some really cool new leaves in there, growing. I think this is one of the easiest of the variegated plants I've ever kept. You know, he has made itself have non-variegated stems, variegated stems. It kind of goes really alienly, weird-like, but he is definitely one of the easiest variegated plants that I own and I care for. He sits by the window. It gets the sun in the morning, and water comes from the moss bowl. Oh, okay, Eli, you were giving me a nice backlight there. For Philodendron bow marks, he's heavy. Crikey. He's a heavy lad. He's a very heavy lad indeed. Next is your classic variegated Monstera. But this one I don't seem too happy with. Its variegation is like hit and miss. Its newest leaf hardly having any, so I think it's reversing. But then I also don't at the same time, because the stem is super variegated. I'm just not sure what's going on there. I think he's had a bit too much sun. Its leaves are kind of going a little bit pale. He was in direct sun quite a lot. So I've just moved it to the side, still getting the sun in the day to keep the variegatedness. And then, yeah, seeing if the new leaf is going to be variegated. There's a new leaf coming. The stem where it's growing from is very variegated. So, fingers crossed, it's going to be variegated. I'm one of those, right? I find Monsteras, especially cheese plants Monsteras, I've always kind of like struggled with them. Controversial, I know, because they're meant to be really easy, but I'm gonna be frank with you. I find them annoying. I find these guys really annoying. So being a variegated version of an annoying plant, it's been somewhat tricky to me, but I think a lot of people have great success. So if you're one of those, raise a toast to you. But all in all, he's doing all right. It's starting to split. If it does revert, I'm just gonna chop him up and hopefully it'll grow some more white leaves. The next variegated plant is my syngonium elbow. Now I believe these syngoniums, it grows like an absolute quote unquote weed for me, and I have chopped it down loads of times and it is growing again. It is kind of being a bit funny, but it's okay. I've got plenty of backups if need be. So I find the variegated syngonium elbow super easy to care for, especially when you've got it on a little pole like this. Definitely worth it. I think it grows really, really easy. It doesn't get that much sun as I probably should. Saying that, however, I do have my Grow Gang light shining down on it now. So I'm hoping it's going to continue to be variegated, but I think it might lose a little bit because I have moved it out of direct sun. Yes, Jammy? Jammy thinks so too. You can't see her, she's down here. So I think I might put it back into more light for sure, but this one's definitely one of the easier ones to look after. And super pretty too. I didn't like syngoniums for the longest time, but I have fallen in love with them, and yeah, they're pretty cool. They're pretty good going. I can't wait to see it in mature form because I think that's when it is the prettiest, but I got a long way to go yet. And yes, Jammy. Next variegated plant is my variegated Epipremnum pinnatum. This one is stunning. It has a weird little fenestration going on there and a little nice cute little variegated leaf coming out there. It desperately needs a moss pole, which I will give it to it eventually so the leaves can get really big and really fenestrated. I would say this one is a on and easy looking after, just because Epipremnums in general are super easy to look after. Watering, you know, I water when it's dried out. It sits in the window so it gets direct sun in the day. I find this one of the super easy one to look after for sure. I haven't had any issues of it reverting either, but I do tend to have this in quite a lot of light. But yeah, this is the variegated Epipremnum pennatum. What have I got next for you lovely lot? We have got the Florida Beauty. Now, Miss Florida Beauty did have a chop some time ago, and they have come back stronger than ever and starting to mature. Look at this. I would say a Florida Beauty is probably a trickier one for reverting. I cut this up and I had, let's say, 5 cuttings of it. Out of the 5, 2 stayed variegated, the rest didn't. So for me, I would say this has been a harder one to keep. And the variegation, I'm sure this is probably normal, but the variegation isn't actually like white for the Florida Beauty, and I don't think it ever has been until it like matures, or like as the leaf ages it goes white. It's always been this kind of like yellowiness. I've just put this on a moss pole because last time this was on a moss pole it went bananas, it went crazy. So it hasn't been on a moss pole and it grew this much without a moss pole, and now I'm hoping it's going to do 10 times better with a moss pole. But yes, this is my Florida Beauty. Do I have more variegated plants that are natural? You see what I did there? Natural. Those were all natural variegated plants. Now let's move on to some man-made variegated plants. Now you see what I did there? The difference between natural and man-made. We're gonna get a little bit sciencey here. Bring out my chalkboards. Bit sciencey here. Natural variegated plants are variegated because they like what? They like what? Chlorophyll, right? They like chlorophyll. What does chlorophyll do? I'm asking. So chlorophyll, it takes in sunlight for photosynthesis. Yeah? When a plant is exposed to a lot of light, it goes, oh, hold on a minute. I don't think I need this
chlorophyll.
I'm just gonna boot you on out of here. Hence, leaving patches of white where the leaf has rejected and slacked off chlorophyll because it's getting too much light, and it's like, do you know what? I'm gonna be a bit lazy here. I don't need all of you cells to help me out. I'm gonna just let you go. Redundancy. So when you see plants online with like a full leaf of white, it's because it's got no chlorophyll. And you can probably see where this is heading. What does that mean? If there's no chlorophyll, and remembering what chlorophyll does, means that a full white leaf is technically dead. So in some way, it's technically just dead. It's just no go, no bueno, not gonna do anything. That what really pet peeves me off is when people post photos of their all white plant and they're like, ooh, look at this all white plant, isn't this amazing? No, because it's not actually gonna do anything. It's not gonna benefit your plant whatsoever. So at that point, if your plant starts producing all these fully white leaves, you give them a chop. You say, bye. You go, I'm not gonna have you anymore. Chop out the window. So that's why we don't like completely white leaves. I feel like I've not really said the right things at the right time, but we're here now, okay? And you understand what variegation does. So that's a natural variegation. And then we went on the tangent of why you don't want completely white leaves on a natural variegation, right? We're moving to the man-made one now. And the classic man-made variegation is your Thai constellation. This is a man-made variegation, this, all man-made. And do you know what that means? It means it will never lose it. It will never revert back to a normal Monstera. It is always gonna be a Thai constellation. And the biggest difference with variegated plants and normal plants whatsoever is that you want to keep your plants exposed to more light than usual to keep them variegated. But when they're man-made like this, you don't need to do that. You just need to do your normal care. Monstera in general can tolerate lower light. Not completely lower light, but you know, they can tolerate it on that lower end of the scale. Moderate light, prefer moderate light to the lower light, but can tolerate it, but don't do as well. So my Thai constellation goes in that moderate light section, compared to my variegated one, where it has on the upper end of highlight / sometimes direct light in its face. But this is my Thai constellation. I really like this big patch. I love it when Thai constellations do this kind of big patch there. So, you know, it's doing that. We're moving on to more man-made variegation. Brings me on to something I bought recently, which has been a wish list of kind of mine for a little while. Philodendron Ring of Fire. Now I love this guy. This geezer. I love this geezer. It's so cool. So again, another man-made variegation. Quite like the Thai constellation. Its new leaves kind of, I think this is where the name has come from. Its new leaves kind of start off this orangey, yellowy, and then it will kind of pale down to the green and your classic kind of variegation look. So it's been genetically modified, yeah? Jamie, you being big bum. So I don't think I own any other variegated plants actually. And I used to be really into them. I used to be like, I want variegated plants of everything. But you know what? As trends come and go, not my forte anymore. Not my je ne sais quoi. It's got to be the right specimen. However, I would die for a variegated Homelamina Maggie. I just would. I want one. I want one of them. I really want one of them. But other than that, I don't have many more variegated plants, to be honest. So on that note, I will bid you adieu, and I'll see you on the next one, my lovers. Goodbye!